Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome back to Reality Realness with 3 S's. I'm your host, Chantele Francis, here to talk about episode 2 of season 35 of our favorite show, The Amazing Race. Is Jonathan. How's it going today, Jonathan?
Good. I love this picture that you have. I'm gonna be that guy down there with the short shorts.
Oh, I'm going to be the person trying to catch up behind you.
Yeah. I mean, that will last for like 3 seconds, and then I'll be heaving and just you'll surpass me. It's fine. But
I don't know about that, but yeah, how are you feeling about this season so far? Before we
yeah,
came on, I heard you say that I love The Amazing Race, and so do I.
I know. I'm still loving it. I just think that now it's been a few days since we watched the episode, so we're gonna have to refresh all of our memories. But I do remember sitting there and thinking, I'm like, this is why we need 90-minute episodes. And I said it last episode, I'm gonna say it again. I'm like, you would not see all these things. You will feel like some of the detours or whatnot are rushed, or it's not filler. You get to enjoy all of it, and I absolutely am here for it. Never go back. I need 90-minute episodes forever and ever.
I 1,000,000% agree. Now, the first episode, I was thinking I wasn't sure about the pacing yet because like they did a lot of they spent more time on the couples and just at the starting line and going down. I was kind of like, I don't know. The pace isn't great yet for me. And so I was wondering if it was just because of the 90-minute episodes. But now that we're in the race,
Yeah,
I don't notice it. I'm just like, I want more, I want more. I'm like, oh my God, there's still so much more left in the show. I'm like, I'm with it. I'm in it. So I
yeah.
agree.
Oh, and when I think like it was like near the hour mark, we get our first, at the mat couple. And I'm like, "Wow, there's still half an hour left of the show. I love this."
It's so good. And like, I don't want to be beating a dead horse here, but it's glaringly better than the Canadian version. I'm just like, I don't even want to audition for the Canadian version because it's not the same show.
It's not. It's not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm like, I want people to be losing their shoes in the muddy swamps and, get like, it's not. We don't, yeah. So, no, I loved it. I love this episode, and I am looking forward to talking about it.
Me
So,
too. Is your memory starting to get jogged yet? Or are you still like have no idea what happened?
I have no idea what happened. It's like a surprise. I have the worst memory. No, it's like flashing back in little bits, and I'm like, ugh, so good.
We have some friends joining us. Hi, Glenda. Hello, Kathy. And Kathy's also loving these 90-minute episodes. I mean, what I like about it too is just like the tasks are quite fun. And so instead of just seeing like a couple people do it and then like a big montage of like the rest of the teams that are at the back of the pack do it, like you get to kind of see a lot of people's experience. And usually at the end of the season, when it's like people are talking in their exit interviews, you find out like, oh, that happened. Oh, that happened. We're getting to see, and that happened in real time or like on
Yeah,
the air.
it's just not the couples that get there first and the ones that are struggling. You get to see all the in between, and you would think, maybe all the in between is just kind of boring and whatever it comes and goes. But no, it's like it's exciting. It's watching how I want to know how every single team is handling each task essentially. So yeah, good.
Hi, Victoria. Victoria's also loving the 90-minute episodes and then listening to me and you. Woo woo. So, can I tell you some kind of fun tea?
Yeah.
So, I think you know that I went to New York last week for Bryson Wendell Clark had like a welcoming party for Rob as a podcast last Tuesday, and I went to that, and I invited my little sister Angelique to come and join me. And she's not as deep into reality TV as I am, but she watches Big Brother. She was behind on Big Brother. She was only at about the pressure cooker, but she's knows the Amazing Race. She knows that like me and her stepmom, my stepmom and her mom would run the race together. She would run it with her friend. Like we've always talked about these game shows together. And she meets Kazi from The Mole, and she was like obsessed because she loved The Mole. And then this guy, very cute guy comes up to her and starts talking to her. And I'm like, I think he thinks you're a reality star or something. And I'm like, this is my sister, Angelique. And he's like, oh, I thought it was, oh, the girl from Survivor. remember Claire from last season's Survivor, Claire Rafson, I think is her last name. And so, no, but we started talking and talking. And this guy was Greg, the younger, cute brother. And so him and my sister were just like chatting away. And he added, like, I added him like with his phone on Instagram, and then he found my sister and added her on Instagram. So he lives in New York as well. He's 25, she's 23. She's in like digital marketing or something, or like, I don't know, some marketing stuff, and he's like a software engineer type thing. I feel like I'm matchmaking.
Yeah. I feel like you could be a matchmaker. Like that's one of your potential callings as well.
I mean, I've gotten a few people together like that are still together, so I'm pretty good at it. But like, isn't that kind of fun that like younger brother Greg might be like my brother-in-law?
Yeah, that's good. That's a good story too. Like, how did you first meet?
It's a really good story, a first meeting story. And like, insofar as that, like, she's like, oh my God, he's so cute. Like, and maybe like we can hang out in New York. And so I'm just gonna urge her to maybe go to their, Amazing Race watch parties, or maybe I'll just get them together. So that's my mission right now. I think they'd be so cute together.
Keep us posted.
I
Yes.
will. I didn't get a picture of them together, which I'm really upset about. But like most of the cast was there, and I just didn't get to see her. But like, there was so many people that were there. But yeah, it was. Ooh, I'll request the matchmaking services, Victoria. I will help you. I will. I'm Kathy. Oh. So anyways, that was like my fun Amazing Race moment. There was a few other people that were there that I didn't get to meet, but I thought that was the most important.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yay! All right. So this episode is called "You Don't See That at Home." Do you remember this being said in the episode?
No.
Oh, pause. Okay, hold on. Kathy wants to interject with something first. Kathy says, since we're off topic, did you see that there is a new reality show that Kat Dunn is casting for from the creators of Traitors in the Circle? I think I did, actually. I took a screenshot of something recently about a new show. Because Meg is casting it. Meg from Big Brother, married to Mike from Survivor.
Wait, I think you sent me that maybe.
I might have. It says, from the producers of The Circle and Emmy-nominated Traitors comes a new, big, and bold competition series for the most fun, outgoing, and strategic game players. Compete to win a cash prize and win over your fellow players. In this reality competition, you can be whoever you want to be. It's the ultimate game of popularity and social strategy. You must be the most liked and the last one standing. Alliances, trust, and deceit. Or deceit can take you far, but how you play the game anonymously will take you further. Oh, I don't know if I want to be anonymous.
Closed ID.
I don't know if I want to be anonymous. I
I
mean, I will. I'll apply.
if I want to win at a game like that, I need to be anonymous. Yeah, I need to not kind of like a closed ID, kind of hidden ID, kind of a situation like The Circle. But yeah, although The Circle is anyway, some of it's annoying for me, but like just how they coach them to talk. But I don't. I'd be interested in seeing another like hidden, catfishy kind of a reality show.
I
Just
mean,
I think at its core, it just misses out on the like if you're pretending to be someone else and obviously you're not interacting together, it misses something, right? So
yeah, I find that people are becoming a little bit wooden.
yeah, and I just don't know if that will work. Like The Circle doesn't fully work for me, but I'd be interested in seeing a different format to see if how that works. So
Because I guess, like, I mean, I don't, obviously, you don't know this answer, but if it's a closed ID again, would you be playing a random face, or would everybody have like the same happy face? You know what I
yeah,
mean? And like with your green happy face, your purple happy face, and like you don't actually even have an identity that people can match you to.
yeah.
That would be, I think, a little bit better, because like I think that preconceived ideas, even if it's just an image of somebody, like it does change the way people feel about you. So I wonder if they would completely make it everybody's exactly the same.
So that's the preconceived. Me and Victoria actually have been talking about this because I did, as you know, I did The Circle, an online reality game of The Circle. I came in second.
I'm like, did you win that? Okay, yeah.
I came in second, but the uh, the I picked Annie Murphy's character from Schitt's Creek, Alexa, because I was like, you generally know what kind of personalities could potentially win certain things, and it's unfortunate in certain situations, but I had a lot of fun playing Annie Murphy. But yeah, you there are a lot of preconceived, kind of
Yeah, like
ideas.
if you're gonna choose a character that's a snake or like is like untrustworthy, you're gonna adopt those qualities yourself. And so would be wondering if this game would like wipe that away and everybody's just a happy
Yeah,
face
yeah.
or an X.
Age-wise, I played one a few years ago where I was, 60 plus, and I did horrible. And it's like everyone just isolated me as the old person.
And you're like,
I didn't get that it was assigned to me, but it's like, and my play style was the same. But yeah, so it'd be really interesting. Anyway, new reality.
anyways, let's talk
Back to
about the Amazing Race. The Amazing Race. You don't see that at home. Does anybody in the chat know where this line was uttered? Because I don't remember it at all.
We'll
Now,
revisit that at the end when I remember the episode. I'm like,
Jonathan,
what were they talking about? You don't see that at home.
you
But
don't
anyway.
see that at home. I don't remember. How did you feel about seeing the departure times?
Oh, you know me. I was like, okay, wow, you're 4 minutes past them. You're of half an hour. Okay. I was like adding it all up, I told you there's just something. I don't know what it is in my head, my OCD or something, but it's and I legit have OCD, but it's just something that, I need it.
I need
And
it too. It's something like also on like the challenge. They used to do times and stuff like that on the challenge, but now they don't as often. So when I see this, like I've always been like, oh, they had to depart like 12 hours after. Like, okay, let's see like how the spread is, and like you can't really tell how far apart people are when they're just getting to the mat. And so I love seeing the departure times.
well, it's like
Nothing.
it's a little like Big Brother, how they're only showing the top three in challenges time wise, and I don't.
Well, I think that is because they really screwed up on that first challenge with Matt, their deaf contestant, and having a sound-oriented
Yeah.
competition, and they didn't wanna show how poorly he did, and so I think they just made it a standard for this season.
Interesting. I mean, I can see an argument for it where it like doesn't show you who necessarily the weakest one is, or you can kind of like throw it, but you don't know how bad they do, yada yada yada. But I just like seeing our times. I like seeing times. I want all the information, even if it's just maybe to the audience. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, which in this case it was, but
So my team, Jocelyn and Victor, depart at 8:26 a.m. They're going from Bangkok to Nakhon Pathom, and they're going to oh boy, Watsunanaran. Watsunanaran. That word.
sounds right.
Can you say it?
No, no.
Watsunanaram. And they're going to be selling their 20th anniversary, wedding anniversary. Isn't that sweet?
I love them. I wish I mean, they were initially on my list to pick as well, but you got them, even though they were on the bottom of my list, but they were on my list. Yeah, I love them. I hope they do well. If I lose, as far as my draft is concerned, I hope it's because of them. I hope they win.
Me too. Like they're just like so cute, like so strong.
Yeah.
They represent our age demographic, which I'm really supportive of. I know you don't watch like dating shows, but The Golden Bachelor is on right now,
All that was on. Yeah, I didn't see it.
and it's it's so sweet, like, and it's so good. I find it to be so good. It's a 71-year-old, or is he 72 now, year-old man, and the women are between 60 and like 80, and like it's just I just like seeing that people don't just disappear when they turn 30. Like it's nice to see people excelling and doing well over
And
the
the
age of
older you
30.
get to, some of the squabbling of the young 20 somethings, no offense to anyone out there, it's just you get past that. And it doesn't even interest me anymore. A lot of that drama, like I want the drama, but let's go for older drama, let's and so I do like older couples in general. And but even like with Jocelyn, like later on in the episode too, you see how she's like hard on herself, and they're both, and yet they're both loving, and they support it. Anyway, I just love them. I love them as a
Me
couple.
too. Leaving second is Rob and Corey at 8:34, so 8 minutes after Jocelyn and Victor. That's a decent spread, almost 10 minutes, like between first and second.
Yeah.
We see that Rob catches a mosquito in the cab. Have you ever done that before?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
actually have too. I've been like, like Mr.
No,
Miyagi.
I'm that one who just feels bad about killing anything, even if it's like, it could be killing me, and I'm like, oh, yeah.
I
Yeah.
feel bad, and then I saw my hand was covered in blood, and I was like, I don't feel as bad. Because
Well,
it's my blood.
that's
Mhm.
my team though, Robin Corey. Like, I'm just like, good for you.
Absolutely. I definitely wasn't expecting them to be so strong. I'm
That you were
sadly mistaken.
a little concerned about the father, which I understood, but I just like how, and this is how you do it, Big Brother, like how you have, you know, how do you keep it interesting when, when there's not like, who's the wait, what are their names? Corey's the son? Rob's the
Correct.
son?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when he's signing, they'll have like, or like when something's happening, but it's, the father signing on screen in the action that he's doing, you'll have like, they're doing like a split kind of screen, and they're showing like there's just different ways to make it, entertaining and interesting and keeping us informed, because you have a contestant who's essentially not speaking, right? So yeah, I just feel like Big Brother can learn from that to be more inclusive.
Mhm.
And,
Yes. Thanks, Big Brother. So third is my brother-in-law Greg and John, leaving at 8:44.
mhm.
Fourth
Also,
is say again. Also your team.
also my team, love it. Yes.
Wait, so you got first. I got first. You got second and third. Morgan and Lena are mine.
Yep.
So I got fourth. They leaving at 8:55. So almost like a half an hour after first place is fourth place. That's pretty that's actually pretty spread out. But they did go for the express pass. So that was they probably would have been first or second if they hadn't taken the time to go and eat that plate of nastiness.
Yeah.
Very nastiness. They had to use the express pass by the end of leg 4. How did you feel about there being an expiration date for the express pass?
There definitely should be one. I don't know if leg 4 is, well, maybe because there's no non-elimination legs. It makes a difference, because like maybe if there were non-eliminations, it might be like 5 or 6. So um, yeah, I'm okay with it, and I definitely think it should have an expiration date.
I think for me, 4 is a little bit too soon, too early. Like there's still so many teams left, and if you were a strong enough team to be able to get the express pass and stay in the game, chances are you're going to be you're not going to be at the back of the pack for unless something crazy happens. And so it just you might use it just to get the first place, but I don't know if you're going to need it because you're in dire straits. So I kind of wish that maybe you could do it to the halfway point or, final 7.
I definitely want it to overlap with like a double, or like a forced double U-turn or something like that. You know what I mean? I want to see how that comes into play, because um, that it might be able to really bail you out of situations like that. So
Exactly. So with it having like you don't get that much choice necessarily with it being in 4 legs, you're going to have to use it. And so yes, it's a great advantage and like it's a get out of jail free card likely, but it would be for me a little bit better if they had a little bit longer to use it because chances are they'll be in dire straits later on in the season.
yeah, I kind of like that it's not seemingly like, like you said, not a get out of jail free card necessarily, because you could be doing well anyway, but it's a little backup just in case. And the fact that, you do often win things when you are first in the leg, so that can help you even if you're doing well. Use it, become first. Some people come first and stay first, or stay in that pack for the rest of the race. So it really can be helpful, but not necessarily like life changing. Although it may, if you're,
I mean, if it's a
playing well.
good prize at the end of the leg.
If it's a good prize, like, so it's a little something extra, which I like. Which, like, the chances of it being just a little benefit for doing well initially, I prefer that.
Fifth place is Ashley and Todd. They leave at 9:01 a.m. So we get to our first roadblock. Who has a green thumb? Me or you, Jonathan?
Okay, can you hold on one second? This is fake. This is real.
Should I show you a real one? You have more leaves on mine, even though they're dead.
Wouldn't be me. Don't have a green thumb.
um, man, what would we have to do? Like rock paper scissors?
Guess so. I don't even know. I don't even know.
Well, basically there's a bunch of sacred lotuses, and they have to basically wade through a lily pond, I guess. Through the muck of it all, they have to gather 10 closed buds of the sacred lotus, and then they have to wrap it specifically with a 3-4-3 pattern with the bamboo ties and these leaves wrapped around it, and it has to be done perfectly. So they had to create two. I didn't realize they had to create two when they explained the instructions, but they had to create two of these bulb
Yeah.
bouquets.
Yeah.
You look worried.
We saw some people get tripped up with that, with
So,
just presenting one, just the number of them. And it's like, no, you need both at the same time. I also feel like during it, some people were very good with like knowing that there was someone behind the camera that they could ask like what their issue was, and some people were just like assuming what their issue was and then moving on. And
so my theory on that is that they did not have somebody telling people what was wrong for the first little while, but when they realized that people were not getting it, I think they brought that person in later on, because I didn't notice it so
yeah,
Jocelyn's going to be doing this roadblock. I didn't notice her first few attempts asking or receiving any additional help. Same with Rob for a very long time. It was on literally like seventh attempt
yeah,
when I now saw someone come in being like the bulbs, the bamboo leaves, your
yeah.
ties.
I would like a little behind the scenes on that, like because I was like, what happened there? Because you're right, it wasn't at first, and then afterwards, people were like, am I not okay? The or okay, like they knew. Oh, the rap. Okay, great. Like, and then like, wait, how do you? Yeah, how are you
Yeah.
asking and the front people weren't? So something interesting is there that we were untold. But yeah,
So I don't know if it's just because I'm sitting at home, but it didn't actually seem as difficult as the contestants were experiencing it. How did you feel about what they had to do and then the execution of the players?
although I can't keep plants alive, I am. I took art in school. I do have faith in the fact that I could have done this, but I have a lot of false confidence in life,
But
and
you're usually right though.
so well, I didn't understand what the difficult element of that was. People who didn't have the leaves wrapped properly kept bringing up the leaves very visibly not wrapped correctly. um I understood that the bulbs kept moving, like you'd go to wrap it, then they would move and stuff like that. So although we saw one or two teams get there and do it fairly quickly, especially considering everyone else, a lot of people were struggling with it. So there's definitely a trick to it. I would like to think that I have faith in myself and I could have figured it out, but yeah, you're right. It just didn't, like, sitting at home seem as difficult as people were making it out to be. But
Because I was picturing myself just how I would do it. Like, I would watch the example 3 times, like, or at least once fully through, and like, okay, how did you get this to look like this? And I probably would put like the bamboo, like whatever the leaves are on the bottom. I would stack it 3-4-3, and then I'd wrap the bottom leaves around and put the bottom leaves on top, and then hold it, and then I'd just like wrap, and I'd probably like use my teeth, and then it would be stuck there, and then I don't know. I just don't feel like it would be that hard. I'm at home. I know
yeah,
I'm not
I
hot out there in Thailand.
got
Uh,
the pressure of it,
Pressure,
going through
TV.
the muddy, like you could barely walk, and then sweating, and everyone's there, and you're like, yeah, I think a lot of people did put pressure on themselves, overly so, and it's just it showed in them panicking and not being able to get it done.
And I would also look at mine and then look at the example and see that it looked different. Right? Like sometimes they would go up and they're just like a jumbled mess. And I'm like, it doesn't look the same like at all.
Yeah. Well, like I think I would just after a few failed attempts, I would just be like every step of the way, I'd be like, okay, we're doing a little bit of this, and I'll just wait until they redo it again, and like instead of just guessing and then
Hmm.
getting it wrong. So because the more you play around with material like that, the more you're gonna have to go and pick some more because it's gonna come apart, fall apart. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
you have to be careful. But I like the challenge. I
I
think
like the challenge. It's cool.
people struggled with it. That's all you can ask for.
Well, and so look, they did a similar challenge in the like Canadian version last season, and they basically were in like a flower shop, and they had to pick the correct flowers to match like a picture. And I'm like, look how much more dynamic this is as they're forcing them to wade through muddy waters to pick the bulbs and like get these perfect leaves. Like
Yeah.
same challenge essentially, and one was so much more dynamic.
Yeah, well, it's just one was very authentic to a
The place,
culture that
yeah,
we don't
culture.
have, locally, and then one's walking into a flower shop, so
And also what was really interesting too, so Jocelyn was the one that was doing this roadblock between her and Victor's family, I believe, is Buddhist. And so I don't know if they specifically do this task and create these I guess bouquets, but she was feeling the pressure of like his family knowing how to do this, and she was failing so poorly, and she just the whole time was like, don't disown me. Oh, I'm sorry, like I want to get this right, but like I'm not great at this. And so having her struggle with like being shunned by his family was also an interesting piece.
yeah, well, I think they had a leg up this leg because, for language-wise, for I think she talked about, like, she's done this before with that, even if she's, like, seemingly not amazing with it, it's like she's like, "Oh, I can do this, I've done it." And then even with the we are not there yet, but with the Detour, the grocery, challenge, whatever you wanna call it, that, they have a grocery store, so they feel like they've done that a lot as well. So I feel like this was I was expecting them to do well, and her struggling, with this was, I think, their most struggle of the episode, but,
Hmm.
like, yeah, I just felt bad for people who kinda went in, like, my girls, Robin and Chelsea. I think it was Robin who went in. When they show the edit of, like, someone saying how well they're gonna do at something, and I hope it's
Yeah.
not a false sense of confidence, and then, yeah, you're like, "It's not gonna go well."
That's your edit all the time, right?
It would probably would be.
So Rob is also going to be the person that does this challenge. Back to the teams leaving the starting mat. I'm in sixth place is Anna Lee and Steve. Their time is 10:23. So this is essentially the second group of people. It's about an hour. Well, they're leaving actually 2 hours from Jocelyn and Victor. Joel and Garrett are at 10:28. We see Greg and John, my brother-in-law, going to the wrong spot. So apparently they didn't recognize that there was like a city or an area difference between the same name of the place, I guess. And so they ended up going to the wrong spot, and it's about a 30 to 40-minute mistake. How on earth did that happen?
Yeah, I didn't understand fully that. Like, they were like I thought I didn't understand if it was just an additional 40 minutes and they stopped off at the wrong spot, like, it would take everyone that time to get there. They were just, like, along the way, they just stopped at the wrong spot, or and it
I
well, I
think they
feel like
had to I think it was probably 20 minutes out of the way,
and
and then
then
they had to get back to where they started and go, like, a different direction, is what I
yeah,
thought.
so I didn't even I wasn't able to follow that, but it was something about, like, this is the wrong temple, this is the I don't know.
I think it's, like, basically saying, like, we live in Toronto, Canada, so, like, saying, like, the CN Tower, Ontario versus the CN Tower, London. No, the CN Tower, British Columbia. You know what I mean? Like, I think it was just, like, a same monument type
Yeah,
name
I would
or
I would've
temple
just
or
loved yeah, I would've just loved a little
okay, here, hold on.
little map.
Sandy here has it for us. So Sandy says there's two temples in that city, Riverside, I think. And they just showed the city name and the driver took them to the wrong one. Okay, so they just didn't say
So
the
it's a
proper
temple,
area.
city, and it instead of, like, specific okay. Yeah, I just want a map, like, I want like, if they just flashed a map and be like, current location,
Oh,
where they need to go versus, like, where they are, I would have loved that. Oh,
yeah,
give me
that would.
times to map, let me tell you. I mean, it's
Oh,
Amazing Race, let's put a map on the board. You have 90 minutes, let's put a map.
I love a map. Love a
Yeah,
map. I did like the map last season with the scramble, even though it was still hard to tell who was ahead of whom. Like I did like seeing where they were on the map there.
yeah,
So
love
I love a good map as well. Yes, I do travel around the world, Sophie. My job is kind of like the Amazing Race. That's why I'd be a great on the season. I would love to be on American Racing Race. Like that would be a dream come true. So Lena and Ashley are going to be are at the Roadblock. And sorry, Lena and Ashley get it to the Roadblock, and they're both the ones that are going to be doing it. Todd thinks that Ashley struggles with confidence, um, which is I think is going to be a theme for this season. Is when Ashley does a roadblock or a task that she's not going to necessarily have the confidence.
But she was still, like, upbeat and just, she wasn't I didn't think she was too hard on herself. She was, like, a little frustrated, but I was expecting, like, someone to, like, lose it, and I was like, "Don't prove me wrong," because I was telling you how, like, I think they're, like,
The fake villains.
fake villains, and I was like, "Oh, don't prove me wrong, like, don't, like, lose it on people," and she wasn't, and I thought she was still pleasant, and so I was just like, okay, good," but yeah, I don't know. I like them more and more the more I see them.
Lena loves flowers, so of course she's going to be doing this roadblock because, she has the green thumb for sure. Greg finally gets over to the roadblock and he is going to be doing it. Back at the mat, eighth place leaving is Liam and Jeremy at 10:36. Ninth is Joe and Ian. Oh my god, what a I'm so mad about this pick now. Joe and Ian?
Joe and Ian, they're my pick.
Oh, sorry. Oh no, it's I have the other brother.
You have
Sorry. But
you
both of
you have
them.
Liam and Jeremy, yeah, they're both not doing great, which is, like, so weird because we just assumed that they would be, like, top of the pack the whole time, which I like it being kind of, throwing us
Us
for
being
surprise.
wrong. I mean, I could also see them learning how to run the race and get better.
I also don't think that there's been much room for minus that one task that we're talking about now, there hasn't been much room for, um, changes in, in the groupings just yet. I feel like the people who are behind have been kind of staying there, and the people in the front have been staying there. So I'm waiting for maybe a great equalizer or something to kind of have a little bit of a reset, and I don't
I
think
think that's going to happen next week if
yeah,
you saw the previews for next
yeah,
episode.
I agree with you.
Sandy says, speaking of 90 minutes, I still feel in the middle of the pack teams that didn't get shown as much as the front of the pack. So teams like Jeremy and Liam and Joe and Ian barely got screen time. True. I don't remember much of their story.
Well, they both also did well at the bouquets or whatever. I mean, they didn't do horribly at all. So I feel like it's the fact that they're not introducing the challenges to us and the fact that they didn't do terrible that
It's kind of
just
brushed over.
well, yeah, what
There
do you,
was no real story with what was going on with them.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
So Jocelyn has 2 fails. Then she has 5 fails. And she said an embarrassment to Victor's family. Then we go back over to the mat. We have leaving in 10th place, Andrea Milena at 10:44. 11th, your girls, Robin and Chelsea at 10:45. And leaving in last place is Elizabeth and Ileana, leaving at 11:09. Whew. That's a
So you can
that's
see all the time difference, and you like, wow, okay, you're hours and hours behind now.
like literally 2.5 hours. That's a long time to be behind. So we see Victor praying for Jocelyn, and after her 12th attempt, she does finally leave the roadblock. She still is in first place, so it took a long time to get there. 12 tries is quite a few, but she did manage to leave first place. Eventually, there seems to be someone saying their error. Okay, so yeah, see, I wrote that down. That we didn't. I think it's because they didn't expect people to take 12 tries. Like they're just like, let's maybe expedite this a little bit because then Rob gets it pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean, with fairness, I don't know how they could introduce someone new, but that's probably why they didn't show us, like, introduce someone to tell us.
Hmm.
I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, we did only start seeing that person like later on. Or I mean, maybe they were always there and they just like some people just didn't take advantage of it at first. I don't know. And then like one person did and everyone's like there anyway. So they're like, oh, I can ask that person. Okay. I don't know.
I haven't watched all like the exit press yet about this episode, and so because I wanted just to have like my own thoughts before we went live about it. But I'm gonna see if I can find this answer because I want to know. I want to know. When Jocelyn was coming back and she's kind of crying, but she's proud of herself, but like still, she's just such a sweet woman that like I really, really, really want to root for. Like they're in the front of the pack, but she's still an underdog for some reason. You know what I mean? Like I still really want to root for her. So, um, Jocelyn is my favorite. I
Yeah.
think so far this season.
It's my favorite team for sure.
Root info. They are going to be going to Wat Rai King. There's going to be a marked elephant there. They're going to have to put a coin in the slot and then walk around and under an elephant 3 times for good luck. Have you ever heard of this tradition?
I haven't. And I was wondering as I was seeing this, is this just a little kind of like, stopping point to show something different? Because no one was struggling with it seemingly until later, and then some people were struggling with finding the elephant. Um, but no, I'd never heard or seen this before. So yeah,
I think it was just to like make them do something. Just
yeah,
like send them on another task. It's not super difficult, but getting directions to go somewhere else, find something, like it just leaves room for error and
and there was error. So like, yeah,
so Steve is going to be doing the roadblock task as well as Garrett. Greg thinks it's an advantage to be later because the people have already been attempting and failing, and so like they're going to be it's going to be easier to see how people are doing, and so that's why Greg was happy to be later on this task. Did you see when he tries to fist bump the guy and he doesn't? He's like,
and then he like mentioned something at someone else later that episode too. He's like, I won't fist bump. I'm like, just stop fist bumping people. I'm like, I don't even do that in this culture. I'm like, other cultures are gonna be like, what the hell's wrong with you? So
Ashley starts spiraling because this task apparently is super, super, super hard, and she keeps on getting it wrong. Jeremy and Liam make the same mistake as the other brothers, so both sets of brothers are going to the wrong temple, unfortunately. Ian is doing the roadblock as well as Milena. Steve didn't even look at the example, it seems. So yeah, so when Steve was there, like his was a mess. So Steve is Anna. What's her name? Anna Louise.
yeah, father
Louise, is it?
Anna Lee.
Lee. So yeah, like he was just like putting them together and just like trying to tie it. Like I swear he did not look at that example.
Well, I thought he was going to be there forever, and then he ended up doing pretty well. So I was like, but the first
Oh,
attempt, I was like,
I think they were like, okay, we're spending too long at this detour. We did roadblock. We say again.
I said they were like, just move you along, like.
I
But
think they started doing that near the end because some of them looked a lot messier than the ones in the beginning.
yeah, some of the leaves, it was mainly the leaves for me, the outside. Like some of them felt way more open than they should have been allowed. But yeah, I mean, listen, not for Robin and Chelsea. They were struggling, but Steve and Annalie were just seemingly whipped through it. So compared to what always laugh because he can't do this.
But okay, but did you notice also with Steve though, when he's doing it super messily and getting a check, the gardeners seemed a bit annoyed. He's just like, I got this little guy like not speaking any English to them, was just super annoyed that he's coming with these ugly bouquets, completely wrong. I
Yeah,
might have
and
to clip that. He was very cute.
like picking them, and then they're like ruining all these things. They probably didn't think that they would need so many or be there that long. Or, yeah.
So Greg does end up completing this, and like he's able to overtake a couple of teams because Ashley is still there. Obviously Steve is there. There's a bunch of teams are still there, so he's there. He's actually able to leapfrog a couple of teams, and he leaves in third place. I guess Rob got it. Did I not write that down? Because Rob stayed in second, I believe, right?
I can't remember.
Oh, it's, you know what? This makes sense. Sandy's like, they don't want the lotus in the pond to be
Well,
picked clean by these Americans.
that's what I'm saying. But also, like, was it Joe and Ian or something? Like, one of the teams mentioned how they had to go much farther out because all the front were like all picked already. So yeah, they're probably getting really annoyed.
Well, they probably didn't expect like each team to like need to pick
Seven.
like 100.
To them, it's like so easy, and they're just like, why can't you do this?
Hi, Aaron. Thanks for being here as well. So Jocelyn and Victor, we see them at the elephant going around 3 times. Then we get the detour stock up, where they have to go through this market with a shopping list. They you have to use baskets and a hand cart, and the items are phonetic, which is interesting. So the list is in Thai, but it's spelled out phonetically, and so they don't know exactly what they're asking for. Or scoop up, which they have to go to a pomelo pond, I guess, another pond, where they had to fill up a boat full of these pomelos, and then fill, was it 5 baskets or 3?
Five, yeah,
5 baskets of these pomelos. Have you had pomelo before? I feel like I have, but
never, never. But I thought this was so smart, and I think this is the Amazing Race learning from themselves because essentially at a market you can give a list to one person and be like,
they
"I
run
need
around for
it,
you.
take it." And when it's phonetically spelt out for English speakers, that removes that option more than likely. So I was like, "Ooh, that's smart." So you just can't hand your list. And although we see that Jocelyn and Victor decide this, I thought it was the right task for them specifically, with their background, with what they do, with their language knowledge base, all that. However, I would have picked the other one for myself. I'm like, I don't want to the language barrier issue. Phonetically, I took linguistics in university, but I should be okay with it. But I just think that I would have picked the pomelos. Yeah. Listen. I used to canoe
Really?
a lot, so
Okay. If you canoe a lot,
we owned a canoe. I'm good with that. Yeah, give me a stick and I'll take us around the pomelos. Yeah, for sure.
oh, I feel like Sarah said she would never do the market task.
Yeah, it's just too much room for error for me. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you're correct with the fact that like you're just literally picking 200 pomelos and putting them in baskets. Like it's pretty straightforward. Um but I feel like the market one just could be so much faster potentially.
Yeah, it's risk and reward for that one for sure. If you're behind, maybe pick that one and just hope that
You're fast.
you're much faster than filling those 5 baskets for sure.
But I would be with you, and I would support your confidence in canoes and sticks. And so we would be doing scoop up.
Scoop up.
Done.
I mean, and they're all there. It's not like you had to like hunt. So as soon as you'd go around a couple bends, there was like, okay,
So Jocelyn Victor, like you said, they do stock up, and they definitely had a bit of an upper hand because they're used to filling these baskets. And Victor speaks, I think he said Laotian, so it's very similar to Thai. And so when they're saying the words phonetically, he was able to understand, like figure it out quickly what most of the words were, and so he was able to pronounce them a little bit more accurately, or know what they were talking about, like know what it was, jackfruit, know it was. So the things that they were looking for, if I wrote them all down, was duck eggs, a dozen of duck eggs, roasted duck, broccoli, or broccoli, what was
yeah.
broccoli,
It's that simple. It's just broccoli. Yeah.
pineapple, durian, coconut sugar, um, fried pork leg, and jackfruit. I think of all the items that they needed. Um, so Sandy's saying here that the market task has too many components that can go wrong, while the Pinelli can just brute strength it. Yes, Agreed. But if there's a lot of brute strength people, I don't know if I would stack up against like, these strong dudes that are doing it as well. So, but I would trust you, Jonathan.
We wouldn't tip over. I promise.
Thank you. I hate turning over canoes or sea-doos in the water. It's like literally the most annoying thing on the planet.
I've never. So yeah, I've on a jet ski or sea-doo. I've been on a million and one times, and we own them. And it's I've never tipped over on it ever.
I've tipped over once. I wasn't even driving. And I was like, oh, like she was just trying to like hit like all these like the ways of the boat that went by.
Yeah,
And
right.
like she went in at the wrong angle and like I was just like, "Ah!" Like,
There's a way to. I mean, people ride them. There's a way to ride them for sure that you can like get that splash and get the ups and downs without like throwing yourself off of it. Canoes, however, if you have a bad little like teammate or a little partner in the canoe and they shift, the wrong way or whatever, it can get dicey. So I just be like, just sit here. I'll do the work.
Jonathan's been asking the same question, Sophie. What happened to JoJo?
I don't see JoJo. I think me and JoJo are like, oh, this will only be for Canadians, but we're like Pokeroo, like we don't exist together. You know what I mean? Or
Are
the
you
other,
the same person?
maybe.
Jojo went to Europe for a few weeks. And so yeah, maybe Jojo will want to talk about the traders. Or do you want to talk about the traders Canada? What do you want to do?
I want to find JoJo. Let's find
Find
JoJo.
Jojo.
Is JoJo
Okay.
where in
Maybe
the
Jojo's a trader.
JoJo would be a trader. If they were
Jojo 100% would be a
so
trader.
smart, they would make JoJo a trader and he would win.
Yeah. Oh, do you think people would come for him?
Nearing the end, I think it's quite possible. It's like I think it's very similar to how people are in minis. And I think JoJo does very well in the first like half or three quarters of a mini or overall all of it. But if they're gonna come for him, it would come from like near the end. So
Well, we'll see. Well, we'll see if we can get him on season 2. So, Rob and Corey, they do scoop up. We see Lena passing Ashley, so she's able to get her bouquet together. Scott now is getting nervous. Who's Scott? Oh my gosh.
Scott is no one. You mean wait,
Steve?
who's he teamed up with?
Oh my god. Maybe their name is
Steve,
Steve.
like
But
Steve is with Anna Lee.
so I think I must have wrote Scott and I meant to write Steve.
I'm trying to see if there's anyone else.
So Steve is getting nervous when Lena passes Ashley. I mean, he would be getting nervous because like he was not Todd. Do you think it's Todd? Did Todd do that one?
Oh, Todd was nervous because yeah, Ashley is taking forever.
Oh yes,
And then
Todd.
Todd's like, yeah. Todd definitely was nervous.
Todd and Scott, is it a similar name? Like I
You
don't
know
know.
what?
Maybe this like the
He
double
looks,
D's.
he looks like a Scott, though. So I'll give it to you. He looks like a Scott.
Yeah, and he definitely. I don't even remember who Todd is, so his name is Scott to me, I guess. Jeremy is the one with the 3 green thumb, as well as Ileana. So they're going to be doing this roadblock. Jocelyn and Victor, though, they are like they sell a lot of the items of their list at their store, so they're very familiar with these items. And they didn't seem to have too much trouble running around the market getting their list together until they make a little bit of a boo-boo. They didn't realize the amount, and so we notice that they made a mistake with the amount, the wrong weight for the coconut sugar. And so I was like getting nervous with them. I'm like, oh, I wonder how much this is going to affect them. Like, are they going to have to go around? Like, how are they going to figure this out? So I was worried for them when I saw them to get the wrong weight. Finally, Steve gets it at his 12th attempt. Ashley gets it at her 15th attempt. Like, Jesus, that's a lot of attempts. Robin and Corey get 2 of their baskets of pomelos pretty quickly. See, this is what was like, it was challenging covering, but like it was also interesting watching and covering because like so many people are at different parts of the race, right? We have these people that are still doing the roadblock. We have people that are on the mat leaving and they're still on their way and then they're going to the wrong place. And then we have people that are finished the roadblock and they're going around the elephant. Like I love that there was just so much diversity with what was going on from segment to segment. So it was a little bit challenging to cover, but like watching it was really entertaining.
It just felt new. It felt very different than kind of like your what you're used to and how the things are normally edited and all the above. It just to me felt like a new version of the show without ruining it and just enhancing a lot of the stuff as a viewer. So
Definitely. So Greg and John didn't want the girls to see them going to the market. I was like, I thought they were going to be like friends with the girls, but I guess like they're like frenemies with Lena and
um,
Morgan.
I agree with it. I just don't think you can. Unless specifically you're agreeing to help each other out for something or whatever, or unless you're sure of who you want to work with, just be careful with. It's like what Todd Scott did last week with jumping a line of six people. You just don't like. Why are you helping everybody? You know what I mean? So I do get frustrated with the viewer when they're helping everyone. I'm like, pick your person, pick your couple or the right situation, and then help when needed. But yeah, seconds count. So
So Greg and John, they end up picking the Scoop It. We see Jocelyn again back at the market, making a mistake, but Victor is able to catch it pretty quickly. And so they're able to rectify and get more coconut sugar, and they are leaving the market in first place. Go team.
yeah.
So they're going to Swan Sampron, which is the pit stop. It's a 50-acre oasis. So, like, this is, I guess you're saying, is about the hour mark. We had still so much things to
Yeah, I
do.
think it was. I think it was right at about the hour mark, and I'm like, oh, I paused to check, and I'm like, great, we have 30 minutes left of the show. I love this
Well, and people are certain, so spread out. Like,
because
it's great.
I think it's like at 45 minute usually when in an hour long episode that the first team crosses the or makes it to the pit stop. So yeah, it's just essentially doubling that.
So Rob and Corey are racing for first place because they're able to. We can't really tell how close they are to each other, just for the fact they both did separate teams. So they are also racing to the pit stop. So we'll see if the Scoop It or Stock It was a better choice. But first place is my team, Jocelyn and Victor, and they get $2,000 each, which I would love to take. Give me $2,000. Thank you very much. Second place is Rob and Corey. And then back at the Scoop It, we see Greg and John almost switch. I was like, when they didn't see Pomelos like right in their near vicinity, they were like, "Oh, should we go to market?" I was like, "Brother-in-law,
Don't do
if
this.
you do market right now, you'll already be disowned from the family." Like,
Don't switch tasks for no reason. You've given this half like they put enough effort to like get the boat, get in the water, do all this. And it's not like I remember people switching tasks a bit more often when it's like, okay, that's here. This is 5 minutes over there. Let's
you
go
can
do that.
see it, yeah.
Yeah, you can see it. I'm like, you haven't even given this a shot. And it's not like it's impossible. I'm like, what do you do? I was so worried. And then they're like,
A
yeah,
plethora of
it,
like
it, it,
Pomelos.
it literally was a split second. Like I feel like if it was a second longer, they would have been like, let's head back. So thank goodness for them for that moment. But yeah,
So we see Garrett is out of the. I've been saying detour, but no, out of the roadblock. Ian is out of the roadblock after the fifth attempt. And then Greg, man, Greg already ruining the family name by falling into the water. I'm like, these boys,
and I
city
was
boys.
trying to rewatch that, and I'm like, what are you holding on to? Why are you standing up in the canoe? Like that's really difficult to do, but like for a prolonged period while you're trying to shift your weight around to pick up thing, such a bad idea. I was like, it's such a young boy thing to do, but yeah, it's I was like, hopefully he learned his lesson there.
So Steve and Anna are on. They decide to do Scoop Up. Ashley and Todd, I did write his name down correctly this time, do Stock Up. Garrett and Joel realize that they don't have their fanny pack when they leave the roadblock. How do you feel about this colossal error?
So we saw this in the preview last week, and I was waiting for like when that would come in and when they would notice and all that. And it happened fairly quickly. So from when they seemingly left and they weren't too far behind or anything. So I wasn't actually too worried for them. They knew that they left it there and shortly after they left. So I was like, okay. I mean, it's one of those things like I don't understand how it happens. Leaving your stuff behind. And like I think the one person was like, you are supposed to be wearing it. Like, what's wrong with you?
So, the younger daughter is Ileana, correct? Out of the mom and daughter?
I don't know.
I
Feel like
is it? Shoot, let me look. Just because the daughter was on Will and James's had like a recap with the daughter and Aparna from their season,
mhm,
and she said that she did see the fanny pack was there and it wasn't any of the teams that were still with her, and so she knew she didn't tell them, like they were kind of out of eyes distance when she saw the fanny pack was still there, and she did not inform them of it, her seeing it. And then they did come back. It wasn't too long from when they left to when they came back for it, but
yeah.
she did witness that, she did see it, and she didn't say anything. That's good.
Oh,
Smart.
yeah. Neither. Listen, if I could like hide it, I would, but you're not allowed. But yeah, I agree. I agree.
I thought that was an interesting tidbit that, like, it's like, it's not a sabotage, but it was like, you're not gonna help you do better.
Put the oxygen mask on yourself first. You're not, you just have to, you're trying to get there. And this is a team that may beat you later on or something. So you need to do what you need to do to make it, to ensure that you're lasting in the race and helping people out unnecessarily when they don't necessarily like wouldn't notice if you didn't.
Hmm.
So yeah, like it.
So Jeremy finishes the roadblock. We see your girl Robin still at the roadblock. I didn't even see when she got to the roadblock. So I don't really know much about their storyline. I know you're kind of rooting for, I don't know, how
Well,
do you feel about
you're on
them?
my team. So Robin used to bully Chelsea. I mean, this is like almost like a made up story because I feel like they were like 10 and it was for like a week and then they became like best friends after that or something. It just seems like it was just all, whatever. And so they're good friends, but she was the one like on her way there or like on, just saying that she could do this. Like, oh, I'd be good at this. I'd be great at this. And shouldn't be an issue. So I was like, "Ugh." They wouldn't be showing that if you are great at it. So I was just, to me, they were going home. I'm like, this is just going home. Like, how could they not?
So Greg and John finish the scoop up task and hit the mat in third place. So even though they made the error of going to the wrong temple, they still were managed to stay in their third place position. Fourth place is Morgan and Lena. Milena leaves in 11th and leaves Robin still there. So you're probably stressed.
Oh yeah, I was like, this is it. I'm like, maybe that's why they didn't get much of an edit. You haven't seen a lot of them the first episode either. So this is it. Story's over.
Possibly. I mean, then we get the segment of broccoli, which was I was very very enjoyable, like broccoli. And I wrote, haha, Steve and Annalie took too many pill miles, yes, and they sunk their ship.
Yeah, like how can you? Uh, Gosh, like when you're literally, we've all played in a bathtub when we were a kid. Like that's gonna sink. That's gonna sink. Like, what are you thinking? I don't
Well,
know.
they were probably thinking that like they could just get over there quickly enough and just
The
like.
water and the edge is like creeping like that. You can blow on the water and it can creep in. And that's the thing. As soon as it goes overboard on like one little area, you're done.
and Joe do scoop up as well. Joel and Garrett, Leon and Jeremy do scoop up. So what's this like? How did this work? Like, were there multiple ways to go from the beginning to find these pomelos? Because like these boats are very challenging to turn around. Was
Yeah.
there was no collisions or anybody like having to
I think it
go
was
a
just
different way?
like a grid. Like I think you start off with the same player, and then it's like like a think of like an apple picking or strawberry fields. How there's different like lanes and stuff. You can kind of go down whatever you want, but so maybe just at the front of it, like where they had to, there could have been some stuff going on there, wait times or collisions. But yeah, I think once you're out there, you can kind of go down your own path and do your thing.
So even though Ashley and Todd aren't aware of how to say broccoli, they do manage to get to the mat in fifth place. So Ashley's quite happy that like her taking a long time at the roadblock did not move them their positioning in the game. So that would make me feel really good. Knowing that like I could be doing really terribly and have 15 attempts at something and still keep a fifth place position, like that's
And I swear, some of those mistakes early on, like I said, when there's a lot of teams there, it's good to make them early on, or it's good. This is a confidence building. It's like maybe if it happens again, you're like, look, I got out of this before. I can get out of this again, and it won't, because panic does you no good. And so I feel like having this issue now can allow them to maybe not do well at a task later and still power through it without panicking, and it could be a benefit to them. So I don't mind little mistakes like that early on because I think it can
for
really
sure.
help you. Yeah.
And it also can show you that like just because you're not good at something and it takes you a while doesn't mean you're out of the game. And so like you don't start like what is it fatalizing just like making like thinking that your game is over just because you're not doing well at something.
Yeah. It's just that downward spiral, that
Right.
the panic, right? So,
The panic. So in sixth place is going to be Anna Lee and Steve. They do seem to recover from their sunken boat. Melena and Andrea and Robin and Chelsea. Well, sorry, Melena and Andrea do stock up, and Robin and Chelsea do scoop up, and Elizabeth and Ileana do. Well, they wanted to do scoop up, but their taxi driver ended up following Melena and Andrea's taxi driver, and they do have to do stock up. They decided to do stock up since they were there. So would you have made that? Would we have made that same decision? Like
yeah.
if we wanted to do scoop up, but we ended up at stock up, we'd stick at stock up.
Yeah, I also wondered how that happened. Like, how did he get that?
So
Can't locate. Like, was he a taxi driver for another team previous, or what happened?
no. So what she had said was that she told the driver that they wanted where they wanted to go, but he took the directions from the other driver who was going to stock up. And
Okay,
so he didn't he's like, oh, two American teams with these camera people, they must be going to the same place, not realizing that they were going to a different place. So he just literally followed the other driver. And
gotcha.
so it was just it was just unfortunate that their driver did not actually read where they wanted to go.
Yeah, which I mean could change the whole game. So I wonder if that was a benefit for them or made it even harder. I don't know.
Kathy says the team said the taxi drivers were all talking to each other on their cell phones. Yeah. So they didn't realize they were going to two different places, unfortunately. Joe and Ian do finish doing the pomelo task in seventh place. Liam and Jeremy in eighth place. And now we have Melena and Andrea racing against each other. Elizabeth and Ileana. I don't know what happened to Robin and Chelsea. Did they do scoop up? Yeah.
They
Did they
did.
show them?
Robin and Chelsea. Yeah, they showed them. They showed them because they were. It was really between. They were like the second. They were at one of the bottom two teams, so there was like.
Yeah, I just don't remember seeing them do scoop up.
I think it was. There was no mistakes made. It was fairly quick cutting to kind of. Who's it going to be? Who's making it to the mat? Kind of a situation.
So we see Elizabeth and Ileana miss durian because however they pronounced something, they thought it was peanut butter. So they hadn't been like kind of crossing off like which phonetic spelling or pronunciation was which fruit or vegetable or food. And so they kind of have to go back into the market and figure out what it was. It seemed like they did it quickly, but who knows
I
with the
was
edit.
I was wondering if you like had a set amount of money, and if you overbought the wrong item, like you would be forced to switch tasks because you had no longer had money left to buy the items that you actually need, or I was waiting for something crazy to happen like
Did it
that.
say at the beginning of the leg that you have a certain amount of money for this leg of the race?
I don't know. They just didn't seem to be worrying about the money that they were handing off. So I was like, do they have a certain amount of money for even just that specifically that task? Like here, and if you buy the wrong items, what do you do? Can you get a refund? Can you, beg someone for more money, or are you forced to switch tasks? I was wondering what the
Not
whole
clear.
situation was. Yeah.
That's not clear. There's so the lady when they're trying to say durian phonetically in Thai, nobody was understanding them, and it was so cute when the lady figures out that it was durian. She's just like, "Oh, yeah, oh, like durian!" Yeah, like she's like so excited that she figured out what they were trying to say. It was very, very, very endearing. So in ninth place, getting to the mat is Garrett and Joel. 10th place is Milena and Andrea because they did not make any mistakes at stock up. And now it's in between Robin and Chelsea, who both did different tasks. So who is going to get to the mat first? And who was it, Jonathan?
It was my girls, Robin and Chelsea. Robin
And
and Chelsea.
unfortunately, the audience loses their only team in Elizabeth and Ileana. But they definitely handled it well. They had a lot of bad luck hearing a bit of their exit press. They're saying that a lot of their trouble was with the taxis and like getting wrong directions, going to wrong places. For the most part, they weren't terrible at tasks, but it was like transportation and getting there, which is a big part of the race too. So they didn't have transportation luck on their side this
Yeah.
season.
We've seen taxi drivers take teams out before, so it's true. It's part of it, which is part of what we like to see, right? Like it's sometimes just not your fault, and that's why you need to kind of be, in the front half to allow for things to happen. So and that's the thing too. It's why you don't give up, because just because it happened to you doesn't mean it can't also happen to someone else in the exact same leg. So yeah, but
So that's the end of this episode. Was there anything else that happened this episode that you'd like to chat about?
was there? No. Ryland? Anything? No?
Well, coming up though for scenes from the next episode, I this makes me feel ill because like it seems as though the front half of the teams, their flight is delayed. So the bottom half of the teams are going to be in front and our leaderboard is going to be racing from last place. How do you feel about this shakeup? And do you think that our front running teams right now are going to be able to overcome this delay?
Well, selfishly, I think I saw a clip of Joel and Garrett speaking to like Joe and Ian and saying like, "Oh, it's me and you, between like first and second place right now." And I was like, "They're in first and second place." I'm like, "Awesome." But yeah, again, that's what happens. It only like an hour delay or something like that,
I don't
or
remember what it
I
said.
thought it
If it's
was.
an hour, I think they can make up time.
Yeah, I think they can make up time, so I'm not too worried. I like a great equalizer situation as well. Every several legs.
Well, I like an equalizer like this where it's just natural forces, right? I don't like when they all leave and then it's like 6 a.m. we open, you
Yeah.
know?
Oh yeah, and there's definitely been more in Canada, but like there's been situations where it's like that's like every leg, where it's like every leg they restart again, and I'm like, I don't even want to watch that show. So it's when there's a natural equalizer and it's every now and again. I mean, I think they do well, the producers and whatnot on the US version, to kind of have tasks that keep them kind of together and all that kind of stuff. So it looks like a good episode. I'm looking forward to it.
Me
Yeah.
too. I love this season. I'm so happy covering it with you. Thank you, everybody here in the chat. Do you guys have any questions, or was there anything that happened this episode that you'd like to chit chat about? I'm gonna see if I can get my brother-in-law Greg on here after the season's over. So I'll start putting in some feelers around that, which is kind of fun.
Not
Maybe.
even your brother-in-law. It's like straight up my brother-in-law, Greg.
But like it just was so cute. Like they would look so cute together. And yeah, it would just be a perfect little moment. Like you said, a great little story.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Well,
well,
here's
say it
hoping.
again.
I said, here's hoping it works out for them.
We'll see. They
Yeah.
both live in New York, so anytime I go to New York, I'll be like, "Hey, let's do a little meeting. Let's hang out." Anyways, I'll figure it out. I'm gonna make it happen for them. Anyways, thank you, Jonathan, for being here. Thank you, buddy, everybody here in the chat. Thank you, Kathy, for moderating here. You are the bomb. And reminding everybody to, hit that like button. Please and thank you. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel. We are just building a community of people that love talking and watching reality TV like we do. Like this video and let us know who you think is going to be going home next and who is your top 2 favorite teams. We want to hear from you. Other than that, we will see you next week. Ciao, everybody. Thank you. Bye, chat.